KXLY4 News presents Made in the Northwest, brought to you by Great Floors.
They are companies that drive our community, making products used locally and throughout the world. Tonight, we showcase some of the best and brightest manufacturing companies in the Inland Northwest to show you how they're helping us stay safe from insects, make the paper for our newspapers, roast our coffee beans, and even get our amusement park thrills. This is Made in the Northwest, a KXLY4 News special. Welcome, and thanks for joining us. I'm Derek Dyke.
And I'm Robin Nance. KXLY4 is committed to taking you inside some of the Inland Northwest best and brightest companies.
Places where you can see where your goods are made, packaged, and shipped to homes and businesses all over the world. Those companies include Rescue Pest Control Products, one of the first companies to be featured on Made in the Northwest, which was kind enough to host us here today. This facility manufactures all kinds of different insect traps, including its famous reusable yellow jacket trap. We have a lot of great places to take you over the next half hour, but first, a few facts about manufacturing in our region.
Spokane County alone is home to more than 500 manufacturing businesses. Those companies employ more than 15,000 people. Manufacturing jobs account for a little more than 7% of the area's employment base. And those companies bring nearly $800 million a year into the regional economy.
You've probably used Rescue Pest Control Products at some point, but did you know the company has been headquartered here in Spokane Valley for over 35 years?
Now Rescue is making all kinds of new traps, and not just for six-legged insects.
Rescue has been making pest control smarter since 1982. But in the early days, President Rod Schneidmiller says not everyone was on board.
Why would you trap an insect or capture an insect when you can spray and kill an insect? And he laughed us out of the place. Well, anyway, long story short, that account is one of our biggest accounts today.
Now its products are sold in hardware stores all over the world. And to meet the growing demand, Rescue's 120 full-time employees and additional staff pump out an astonishing amount of traps.
Depending on the line, depending on the product, it can go from 5,000 or 6,000 units to 20,000 or 30,000 units a day.
Rescue is now 100% vertically integrated, meaning from the concept to the final assembly.
We do everything in-house.
It spends a ton of money on research and developments. In its lab, Rescue tries to get inside the insects' heads and find out what exactly it responds to.
That has allowed us to look at things that they're very attractive to, but also things that has led to some of our repellents that we've introduced.
The reusable yellow jacket trap is still the product it's best known for.
And it was really our first successful nationwide product that everyone kind of knows us by.
But since 2013, it's developed 10 new products, which required a second full building in the Spokane Valley Industrial Park, and they're no longer just for six-legged creatures.
We actually have an eight-legged creature product now for an arachnid, which is a spider trap.
That spider trap uses spatial dot technology, allowing the trap to completely fill with spiders.
And because of its hardened case and its attractiveness, you don't know even where it is, and pets can't get into it.
Rescue now has a wearable Go Clip to keep mosquitoes away. Its Deco Shield does the same for your patio table.
And then for a little decoration, since you're there at night, you can have a little ambiance, and it looks like a lit candle, and yet you don't have the smoke in your face or the fumes.
Schneidmiller says being the innovator of its industry puts a little more pressure on Rescue to deliver new products. But the company strives to stay ahead of the curve.
We have something that we believe is going to open up a new area for us.
Which means it'll keep making pest control smarter for years to come.
Another local company that makes products used all over the world is just across the border in Post Falls.
Tedder Industries helps its customers conceal in comfort, manufacturing top-of-the-line holsters and gun belts from its facility in the Old North Idaho Outlet Mall. Instead of a piece of leather behind the gun, its holsters have neoprene ballistic nylon, stainless spring steel, and a thermal elastomer, all sandwiched together.
We've got more flexibility, we've got a waterproof design, and we've got more comfort, and we've got better retention. And then on top of that, we have an adjustable retention with our shell.
Tedder's 200-plus employees make their wide range of products under brand names like Alien Gear holsters and Bigfoot gun belts.
There are only a handful of companies around the world that do metal roll forming, but two of them are based in the Spokane area. ASC Machine Tools has been in business for about 70 years. Its massive machines manufacture roll forming equipment for the steel building industry. to make things like siding, decking, and garage doors. It also manufactures coil handling equipment for the food and beverage can industry.
For nearly 25 years, Metal Roll Forming Systems in Northeast Spokane has prided itself on being a one-stop shop for roll forming. Its equipment is designed to make metal roofing and metal siding for pole buildings and more agricultural and commercial style buildings. MRS's machines are shipped all over the U.S. and Canada.
It's built some of the biggest, fastest, most thrilling roller coasters in the world, but somehow it's still a well-kept secret.
Rocky Mountain Construction in Hayden recently let me take a test ride on its newest coaster, which is now in parks. He's been at it for 20 years and it's still a thrill.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Fred Grubb has made a living working on and building roller coasters.
I had no idea when I was young this is what I'd be doing.
He got into it by building Tremors and Timber Terror for Silverwood while working for another company.
We found out that there was a market out there to go and fix roller coaster tracks, so that's how we started.
But in 2008, Grubb and roller coaster engineer Alan Schilke designed revolutionary square track technologies that helped take Rocky Mountain Construction to new heights.
We found out that it was very smooth, and it created the smoothest roller coasters in the world.
Six Flags was the first amusement park company to jump on board.
We put it on the Texas Giant, and it became the #1 roller coaster that year.
2 years ago, RMC reimagined the Colossus at Magic Mountain in California, rebuilding it into the Twisted Colossus.
We do barrel rolls, we do a bunch of different elements within the coaster, so it's still an icon.
Right now, RMC's 110 employees are working on 7 different projects, including one that will ship to Japan. Each one starts in the design phase. A customer will say,
"We want you to fit what you can within these boundaries," and then we work back and forth for a month or two, and they pick what they want.
The trains and the trained parts are built in this machine shop on a number of different CNC machines. RMC is currently developing a new train design.
So the U.S. coasters this year will get the new train design.
All of the metal for the square tracks is cut in the track shop, which goes through about 1 million pounds of steel every 6 weeks. And it's built differently than any other track in the world.
We actually cut this out of flat steel. We put it back together, weld it linearly, and that's how this is built.
The track pieces are then sandblasted and painted before being shipped off to parks. RMC's newest roller coaster is called the Raptor Track.
They're going to get a real coaster that fits in a small space with all of the elements that a big coaster has in it.
They have a test track for it right on site, so of course I had to strap in and do a little testing myself.
And here we go, the Raptor Track! Rocky Mountain Construction's all new coaster. Oh yeah! Woo! That was awesome!
But the Raptor Track isn't the only big new project in the works.
The new roller coasters coming out for next season will be, there will be new records set, the tallest, the fastest, so forth.
Which means Rocky Mountain Construction will continue to be the source of big thrills for people all over the world.
Oh yeah!
In October, the Raptor Track won the Engineering Grand Award from Popular Science, and we can't wait to see what RMC does next.
Stick around, there's a lot more to come here on Made in the Northwest.
Our forests have created a lot of jobs in the inland Northwest. Coming up, why Vaughan Brothers in Colville focuses on small logs for better lumber.
Plus, the paper for the newspaper you read is most likely made in Millwood. We'll take you inside Inland Empire Paper when we return. Welcome back to our Made in the Northwest special. I'm Derek Dyke.
And I'm Robin Nance. We are here at Rescue Pest Control in Spokane Valley, which makes traps like these, which are used all over the world.
Of course, a lot of insects make their homes in our forests, which leads us to our next story. Vaughan Brothers Lumber has been around for over 60 years, but it wasn't until the 1980s that the Colville Company found its niche. Small logs, better lumber. That's the motto of Vaughan Brothers Lumber, but it wasn't always the case.
Father Dwayne Vaughan saw a need in the 80s to move away from traditional sawmilling of larger logs into focusing on a smaller log.
The move was made partly because of availability, but also with a focus on forest health.
We're going to manage it in a way where we're actually taking the byproduct of those good forest restoration efforts and turning it into quality products for consumers around the country.
Vaughan Brothers says the small diameter trees it pulls from the forest have grown slow, producing really strong lumber.
So it allows us to go into engineered wood products and trusses and things like that to build homes that is straighter and cleaner than a lot of the other products that would be from a more traditional fast-growing tree farm.
Recently, it was still salvaging black lumber burnt in 2015's fires.
We remove that black char and the lumber is still good.
Every day, a massive amount of lumber is trucked into the Vaughan Brothers facility in Colville.
This 128-foot crane handles about 120 truckloads of logs each day. It's capable of picking up a truckload at a time, or the equivalent of about 30 tons.
They get separated by the type of log that they are, and then we run those batches through the mill.
Each batch is then fed into the Hugh saw. Vaughan Brothers was the first company in North America to buy one in 1988.
And it chips off the edges and the top and bottom to make a square or a rectangle. And then it's got circular saws inside there that match up the teeth to split the lumber. And then it's got chipping tools to edge each piece.
The Hugh saw can spit out 2x4s, 2x6s, and 2x8s at a rate of up to 700 feet a minute. The bark and other material that's stripped off the lumber doesn't go to waste.
And we burn that in a boiler system that creates steam, which we use to heat up the kilns.
That steam removes the moisture before the lumber is sent to the planer.
So we take the rough edges off, we consistently size the piece, and then we sort it for the different products out in the marketplace.
Vaughan Brothers embraces new technology like this high-definition imagery and its automated grading system to quickly scan for defects.
And what it's allowed us to do is operate at a very high rate of speed, very efficiently, and maintain the highest level of quality.
And it's that balance of new school and old school and the switch to small logs that's allowing the company to stay successful more than 60 years since its founding.
And I see no reason that this business shouldn't go on for many, many years to come and multiple generations.
Some of that lumber is used by Coeur d'Alene Wood, a Post Falls company that is modernizing the reclaimed wood industry. Longtime builder Chris Bartimioli and his partners developed a patented three-step process to achieve the look of reclaimed wood. Coeur d'Alene Wood now has both interior and exterior products.
Up the road in Sandpoint, Wildwood Grilling has become a national leader in grilling planks, wraps, and smoking chips. Wildwood can make up to 300,000 planks a month from its food-safe facility. You can find them in stores like Yokes, Super One, and specialty kitchen stores.
When you read the Spokesman Review or the USA Today, the paper for that newspaper is most likely made in Millwood.
Inland Empire Paper Company has been around since 1911 and is still thriving despite the declining newsprint market. IEP has more than 150 customers throughout the U.S. and can churn out one of these 25-ton jumbo rolls about every hour.
An analogy I can use to how much paper we produce in a day is if you left here today, Derek, and I attached the paper to your bumper, you could drive from here to San Diego in a 24-hour period and cover the highway with paper.
And while IEP deals primarily in newsprint, it can manufacture an unprecedented 40 different grades of paper.
If you read your morning paper while sipping on coffee made by a local roaster, there's a good chance those coffee beans are roasted on machines made by a North Idaho company.
Diedrich roasters are used all over the world. We'll show you how they help roasters in the pursuit of the perfect roast.
With all the apples in our region, it's no surprise cideries keep popping up. We'll tell you about North Idaho cider coming up on Made in the Northwest.
Welcome back to Made in the Northwest. You know, it's that time of year when getting stuck in the snow and flat tires can be real issues.
But thankfully, there's the Spare Me 5-in-1 rescue tool.
It's a tire lift, ice scraper, shovel, cheater bar, and it also has serrated teeth for traction. Brothers Kevin and Dan Clear got their big break on the Home Shopping Network 2 years ago. And back in April, Spare Me was awarded the Most Innovative Concept Award by the United Inventors Association.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee is one of the dozens of popular local coffee companies. It opened a shop near Kendall Yards about 2 years ago. Sawyer has been in the coffee business for more than 55 years and hopes he can keep perking long enough to reach 75.
Like many local coffee companies, Tom Sawyer uses a Diedrich roaster to roast his coffee beans.
After more than 35 years in business, the Pend Oreille Company has built its reputation around the world for its top-of-the-line products. For nearly 4 decades now, Diedrich Roasters has been dedicated to helping coffee roasters in the pursuit of the perfect roast.
Our customer is anyone from the entrepreneur who's opening his own coffee shop and wants to roast his own coffee beans, to much larger companies who roast not only for themselves but for many other companies.
With new ownership, the company has aggressive plans for growth, and it sees most of that growth coming from overseas in countries with an increased appreciation for specialty coffee.
Like in Eastern Europe, in the Baltic nations, in China, even in Myanmar, in Thailand.
Diedrich's 75 employees in Pend Oreille ship about 300 coffee roasting machines a year. The biggest can roast up to 2,000 pounds of coffee an hour with its infrared heaters. And since the beginning, Diedrich has always demanded its machines be built to the highest possible standards.
There are only 2 or 3 companies who build a good, really good product, and we have a reputation worldwide of having built the best.
Building a roaster can take anywhere from 8 to 14 weeks. In the machine shop, through welding, bending, and other processes,
the highly skilled craftsmen that we have out there can take that and transform it into something like this.
After the machines are powder coated, they go back into assembly.
They'll add all of the electrical components. There are gas lines that go in there. There are burners that are inside it.
And when manufacturing is complete, they actually roast coffee in them and test the beans right on site.
We'll satisfy ourselves that it meets the requirements. We'll often add logos. We'll custom paint them.
One aspect believed to be unique to Diedrich is that they're able to customize their roasters, not only in color, but in design as well. This one will be shipped to a company in Arizona.
I would argue that almost every one of them is unique unto itself for one reason or another.
Diedrich is now partnering with a company called Cool Energy, using a product to take the hot air its roasters create and convert it into electricity. Portland Roasting is already trying it.
And they can generate up to 25 kilowatts of power. So it's very promising, and it's a development that we're very excited about.
Diedrich is also excited about tripling in size over the last 4 years, which has led to the search for a new facility in the area, so the company can continue helping in the pursuit of the perfect roast. And while many of you love drinking coffee in the morning, you might also enjoy a glass of wine at night.
Coming up after the break, we'll take you inside Barrister Winery and tell you how it got its name and how it developed its signature style.
The Inland Northwest has become home to hundreds of wine, beer, and spirits makers, and one local winery has been serving up Rough Justice for over 15 years now.
Barrister Winery was started by a couple of lawyers with a passion for red wine.
It's a winery built partly on Cabernet Franc and other full-bodied reds, but mostly on camaraderie.
Ability to come in here with friends and make wine during the crush season or all year long, but we do it with friends.
Nearly 20 years ago, Michael White and Greg Lipsker, a couple of local attorneys and wine-drinking buddies, were on a road trip in British Columbia when they stopped at a shop that sold winemaking kits.
And I looked at Michael and said, we've always wanted to make wine, so we bought this kit to make 5 gallons of wine from a concentrate, and that's how this whole thing started.
It turned out to be okay wine, but not great. And so we decided we could do better.
By 2000, they were buying grapes from Walla Walla and crushing 1.5 tons of them in Lipsker's garage. That same year, they sent 4 wines to the Indy International Wine Competition.
And we won 3 golds and a silver. Thought, maybe we're doing something right.
That was the first time we thought we had an objective response to the quality of our wines.
So in 2001, Barrister Winery was born. The name, a nod to their past lives as attorneys.
Under the British legal system, they have barristers and solicitors. And if you look at our logo, it's the scales of justice with grape clusters.
Barrister's most popular wine, a red blend called Rough Justice. With the help of some loyal volunteers, Barrister produces 5,000 cases of wine a year. The grapes now come from 10 different vineyards, from Walla Walla to near Vantage.
80% of making wine is in the vineyard, and 20% is don't mess it up when you get home. So we hope that we're very good at that 20%.
After they're crushed on site, the fermentation process begins.
We're punching down those grapes 4 times a day in order to mix them up with the juice to extract as much color and aroma and flavor as we can.
After 7 to 10 days, its red wines are stored downstairs in oak barrels for up to 4 years. Barrister has become known for its signature style, but it's also become known for hosting events in its more than 100-year-old building.
Weddings, receptions, rehearsal dinners, birthdays, client appreciation events.
People just love the romance of it and all the lighting and everything. So it's really a huge factor for our business.
And business is just fine for Barrister where it is.
We really don't want to grow any larger. We're kind of at a sweet spot.
A verdict these lawyers turned winemakers are content with.
How about honey wine infused with botanicals? That's what Jeremy and Michelle Kinsel make at Hierophant Meadery in Greenbluff. The couple has pre-med degrees in herbs, which makes them uniquely qualified to specialize in this style of meads. And the bulk of the honey they use comes from their Greenbluff neighbor, Tate's Honey Farm. It's hard, it's real, it's natural. That's the motto of North Idaho Cider.
The Hayden Company's only been around since 2014.
But it's been growing in popularity and production volume ever since. North Idaho Cider uses apples sourced from the Yakima Valley, producing more than 25 barrels or some 800 gallons a month. It makes 9 varieties of cider in the European pub style, so it's dry, not sugary and syrupy.
There are a lot of great sweet ciders out there. The problem with them is that you end up, getting an aftertaste, and with a dry cider you don't. It finishes nice and clean and crisp.
Bottles of North Idaho Cider are available now in local stores and in 38 states through an online vendor.
We've been at it for more than 6 years, but we're always looking for more local manufacturing companies to feature on Made in the Northwest. If there's a company you think we should feature, you can email me at DerekD@KXLY.com, find me on Twitter, or call the KXLY4 newsroom at 509-324-4004.
And to see more of our Made in the Northwest stories, you can head to KXLY.com and look under the Features tab.
And that'll do it for this special edition of Made in the Northwest. I'm Derek Dyke.
And I'm Robin Nance. Thanks for watching.